Man, turning and hitting that 30-year-old mark as a man, things change a bit. And there's this always rush, sort of. You think, oh, in your 20s, you really want to make it big time. You want to hit that sort of high end number, and sometimes it happens. For some people, it's not. For a lot, for most, it doesn't. But your 30s will change you. No one talks about what happens in your 30s. A lot of people think it's just a linear run. Usually, what happens in your 30s is sometimes, and it can be a linear run. 30s, you can be hit with setbacks. And that's something that isn't really even talked about. The whole, ground your 20s all the way so that your 30s you just are retired or something. That can happen for some people. And some people will have a run where they end up at a great occupation in their 30s. They are coasting basically and riding probably at the top of their earning, maybe on their way to the top. But like I said, your 30s, the game really is like snakes and ladders, or chutes and ladders if you're in the UK. Your 30s can set you back just as much, and randomly. And it's never even really talked about as much. It never is alluded to because, life can throw things your way that you never even expected to happen. I mean, I'm going to just use my dad passing as an example. I did not ever expect that to happen in my 30s. He died about 20 years sooner than I would have expected. He died 20 years before his parents did when they passed away. And all of his relatives who were older, like they were substantially older when they passed. And he died probably 25 years before they did, which is, it was a terrible, tragic accident as to why he did. He got sick. He unfortunately caught COVID, and with his vaccines, still it did him in. He wasn't an unhealthy guy. He was very unlucky in that regard. But like I said, your 30s can set you back, and sometimes you don't think about that. A lot of people I know have ended up getting even divorced. Good friends of mine have gotten divorced, some with kids. And you're just like, that is a total devastating blow where they have to essentially restart their lives, or are severely indebted to their partner, to their wife, and their kids for ending up in that situation that they'd have to pay child support, alimony, divide up any monetary resources. It's brutal. You can get fired from your job. These are all things that could happen in your 30s. You get suddenly laid off. You don't expect it or see it coming. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Sorry, we're going to need to let you go. You did not see that one coming. I see that happen all the time in people in their 30s. Some have it smooth sailing, and a lot of the guru advice is to set yourself up. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, when you hit your 30s, stuff like this happens. People get divorced, you'll have unexpected deaths happen. Any random incidents can happen in this era where you're not expecting it, and suddenly end up at a much worse position than you started. And this sort of stuff starts happening in your 30s, maybe even late mid-20s, and can keep going on further as far as your aging is concerned, into your 40s and whatnot. This is usually where, and even people I know have ended up divorcees, or they're not married, they have a kid, and they break up in their 30s, and it's just terrible. And they end up, they had this whole life envisioned, potentially getting a house or whatever together, and all of a sudden now they can't, and now they're actually in screwed positions because of child custody issues. All of that can happen. And that's something that never, ever, ever gets talked about in the reality of your 30s. A lot of the guru guys, like I said, set up your 20s so you have a smooth 30s. Well, you can set up as much as you like in your 20s, and something, a higher power, the path, whatever, will interfere in your 30s and send you back down to not square one, but pretty darn close. And this can happen time and time again. Your business partner deciding to run off with all the funds. You started a multi-million-dollar business. You brought a partner in. We've read stories about this. They decide to load the company up with debt and screw off. You're screwed. You're screwed, and you cannot dig your way out of that. And that is just sort of things that emerge in your 30s. They're more prevalent in your 30s than rather they are in your 20s. Sure, 20s, you might get cheated on or something. Something like that, small fry. Your parents generally aren't going to be dead in your 20s. Sometimes it does happen, okay? Sometimes it happens a lot sooner. We know people, some of our friends that's happened to when they were kids. It's awful. It's totally awful. It's awful at any age, but it's especially awful at a younger age. But having your life completely upended by other people, that can happen. Getting fired well into your career and having to restart, that can happen in your 30s. So when I hear these people saying your 30s should be smooth, it could be. It could be, or it could be a very rocky road, and you could have set it up as, you could have played the game perfectly and still end up losing. I don't know if you guys ever watched that Star Trek show. That's what Picard said in one of them. He said, you can do everything right and still lose. And that's, I think, one of the lessons you actually learn in your 30s. Something you don't even really see coming or have a conceptual notion about in your 20s. Something that you might even learn later on in life. But I'm just saying it can happen in your 30s as well, and it's definitely a strange decade, that's for sure. And it's a time, too, when a lot of your friends are ending up either married or, they have kids. So things start moving in a different direction. People start buying houses if they can, They start settling down as well. It definitely is not like your 20s in that regard. But let me know what you think in your comment section. Are you guys dreading reaching your 30s? I think it'll be great. You'll have fun. I'm just giving you a heads up of some stuff you can expect. Some things that happen. Once you know people in your 30s, you start seeing it happen. It's commonplace. Oh, Cindy had a kid, Her husband left her. Well, what's Cindy saying? No, I'm just kidding. But, they left and he took off with all the money. Okay, that's bad. So Cindy's screwed. All these sort of situations you don't even dream of happening. Well, they start becoming a reality to certain people in their 30s. So that's just a heads up. I thought this would be an interesting commentary about it. It's not the end of anything for you. It's really just the beginning. And even for some people, it's a new start. Because I've seen people rebuild themselves in their 30s in ways that they never even imagined. Totally change everything up for the positive. It's crazy. But that's just a sign of the times. You never know what you're going to get out of the whole thing. And, life just keeps going. It flows the way it does. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I'm enjoying doing these classic COD commentaries. But another thing, when you get in your 30s too, you have to start considering the whole angle of retirement. A lot of people don't. And it's something that, for me, has started dawning on me that I should be taking a more proactive look at. But a lot of people don't even pay it a second thought. You are so stuck in the game that of, paycheck to paycheck that you don't even know what to think about for the future. How can you even think about the future when you're basically trying to tread water? That's the situation for most 99% of people. You throw a kid in the mix, now you have to tend to their needs. Okay, you have to carry the note for a house or something. Now you're paying off big, big debts, and you have to all send things their way. And maybe there's not enough to figure out what to do at the end of the day for you. So, these are all concerns that start cropping up as you turn 30. It's not like, the freewheeling days of your 20s are necessarily the same as your 30s. You still get some of that. You still can have some of that. You can still be wild and crazy all the way to the end. It's just you have to have more proactive concerns and be aware. You sort of become more aware of the passage of time in your 30s. It's weird. It's It's weird to think about, and how you notice that too is you think about people who were in high school with you, and some of them have kids, and you're like, that's crazy. Their kid was their age when they were in high school. Stuff like that ends up happening. It's a transitional period for, I think, most people. And you can keep the 20s rolling. There's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people who do, or tried to. And some people still are. I haven't heard of that from them in a long time, but I'm sure they're still kicking around. But food for thought. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It became a bit rambly. I don't even know what to think about the whole situation, but I hope you guys enjoyed it.